Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the No News, Just Facts podcast. I am back in the building, your beloved host, Ibrahim, aka Brian, aka the facilitator of this podcast. And today's question in this intro to the podcast, I will be asking: do you set out and pursue the goals that you want in life? Why or why not? An article from the New York Times suggests that procrastination has nothing to do with self control. What is procrastination? That's what we're going to first look at. Procrastination, let me just go ahead and find the definition first, but obviously, procrastination has to do with laziness. Laziness. Procrastination is the action of unnecessarily and voluntarily delaying or postponing something despite knowing that there will be negative consequences for doing so. And I'm sure every human being on this earth has procrastination with something, whether it be your job, whether it be fulfilling the deadline of a school assignment, whether it be just an array of things, whether it be a test, whether it be whatever. We all have a form of procrastination. So the New York Times article, as I go back into it, says procrastination procrastination isn't about laziness. The etymology of procrastination is derived from the Latin verb procrastinare. I don't know if I said that right. To put things off until tomorrow. But it's more than just voluntary delaying. Procrastination is also derived from the ancient Greek word, I'm probably not going to say this right either, akrasia, doing something against our better judgment. It's self harm, said Dr. Pierce Steele, a professor of motivational psychology at the University of Calgary and the author of Procrastination Equation: How to Stop Putting Things Off and Start Getting Stuff Done. That self awareness is a key part of why procrastinating makes us feel so rotten. When we procrastinate, we're not only aware that we're avoiding the task in question, but also that doing so is probably a bad idea, and yet we do it anyway. I have seen, like, there's like a video I watched one time. I'm usually one of the guys, one of those people who's into like motivational speaking and everything like that. And there's this video, I have to find it, where this guy was giving emotionally painful truths. And he said there was one thing that he said that really stuck with me, and I feel like every single human being can relate to it. Is that the things that you're putting off in life will essentially make you better, and that's probably why you're putting it off. Or you're scared to fail, and that's why you're putting it off. But more essentially, it's the first one. You're putting off something that you're not supposed to be procrastinating on, that will in turn help you become a better human being. And it's going to help you become a better human being, but you'd rather be stuck in the state, in the mental state that you're in right at this very moment, stuck in the state of comfortability that you're in right now, instead of seeing what is over that hill, what is over there in that direction over there, staying in one direction, staying inside the box that you have essentially become so immune and comfortable and so like livable with, versus becoming this new center of who you are. They always say, I always see something that has to do with like people saying like, oh, go on a vacation, or take yourself off of the internet for like 6 months and see what type of person you are. Um, Believe me, I think that self improvement like that self improvement stuff, especially away from like social media, can really do a lot of good in our in a lot of people's lives, especially with our mental health. Um, but I mean, going back to the question once again, do you usually achieve the goals you set out on? Why or why not? I can just tell you from my own personal experience that no, I have not. Like it's like I have not gotten to that point. But now, as an adult, I finally start to realize what my mother and my uncles and my aunties were always telling me, like when I was younger. Maybe because I was young, I couldn't really understand, like, but I think in somewhere in the back of all of their minds, they were like, when he gets older, he's gonna get it. He's gonna understand why we were like this with him and why we were so like, the way we were with him. It's like now as an adult, it's like it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game from when I was younger. Just really starting to understand the clarity part of it. It's like, oh, this is what they were talking about. Oh, okay, that's what they were talking about. You dig what I'm saying? So hopefully you can gain type of uh, some type of clarity in your life to where you can like get over that hump and see what that future is and see what blessing is over there on that other side and stop procrastinating, because I'm also somebody who has procrastinated in my life, and I'm not gonna do it anymore. Procrastination kills. Procrastination destroys. Procrastination is evil. And for better yet than me to live in the glory, live in the state of comfortability of procrastination, I'm gonna push it to the side and see what is on that other side. So we're gonna just go ahead and go into a whole bunch of other segments that I'm gonna talk about today. So let's get to the first thing. It's ridiculous to think that after the Buffalo massacre, after the church massacre in California, after the Uvalde massacre, it's crazy to believe that there is still more going on after those three key events, right? I'm going to be doing some talking. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I am going to be using information to back up and combat what I'm about to talk about here. We're going to be looking at gun laws. I'm going to just type it in. We're going to be looking at gun laws here in America by state. And I'm also going to be looking at the other side of tightening the gun laws. What is it going to benefit if the gun laws get tighter? Going to be looking at gun laws by state. Going to be looking at each one. I'm going to go through each one of them. Now, obviously, I live in Texas, and I already know what the gun laws are in Texas. You do not have to have a license to carry a gun in Texas. You can have one, and I mean, you can have one or you cannot have one. It doesn't mean you're not going to get a gun. Obviously, you don't have to have a permit to carry one. Open carry is allowed in Texas. All right, so that's already out the door. I already know that one. Okay, so we're going to go through each and every state. And then once I get done with examining and looking at each and every state, we're going to go on the other side of this argument and look at what would happen if gun laws were changed or guns were taken away. Alabama, is a permit required? Yes, for handguns. For long guns, no. Purchase permits required? No. And no on handguns and long guns. Registration of firearm? No and no. Open carry allowed? Yes for handguns, yes for long guns. And I think when they say long guns, I believe they mean like shotguns and I guess any other gun that's like longer than a handgun. Um, Background checks on private gun sales required? No and no. Oh yeah, by the way, they say open carry on open carry allowed. Firearms must be in holster. And permit required policy is shall issue. I don't know what that means. Alaska, permit required? No and no. No permit is required to have a gun. Purchase permit required? No and no. Registration of firearm? No and no. Open carry allowed? Yes for handguns, no for long guns. Background checks on private gun sales required? No and no. That's crazy. Arizona, permit required? No and no. Purchase permit required? No and no. Registration of firearms? No and no. Open carry allowed? Yes and yes to both. Background checks on private gun sales required? No and no. Magazine size restriction? No and no. Arkansas, permit required? No and no. Policy is unrestricted when on a journey outside your county of residence? I have no idea what that means. Purchase permit required? No and no. Registration of firearm? No and no. Open carry allowed? Yes and yes. No license required. Background checks on private gun sales required? No and no. It seems like every single state so far is no on background checks on private gun sales. That's crazy. Magazine size restriction? No and no. California, permit required? Yes and yes. Oh my gosh. I that's not a surprise to me. It's California, bro. Like, come on. Purchase permit required? Yes and yes. Registration of firearm? Yes and yes. Open carry allowed? Yes and yes. Long guns and handguns can be openly carried in some rural counties. Background checks on private gun sales required? Yes and yes. Sale must be through licensed dealer. Magazine size restriction? Yes and yes. Magazine limited to 10 rounds, but federal court blocked ban in June 2017, so still unresolved. Seems like California is pretty thorough about guns. California is very thorough about guns because there have been different things that have gone on in California. So I can yeah, okay. Colorado, permit required? Yes for handguns, no for long guns. Policy is shall issue. I still don't understand what that means. Permit purchase required? No and no. Register of firearms? No and no. Open carry allowed? Yes and yes. No permit required. Cannot open carry in posted areas such as Denver. Background checks on private gun sales required? Yes and yes. Sale must be through a licensed dealer. And Colorado Bureau of Investigation must approve transfer. Magazine size restriction? Yes and yes. Magazine limited to 15 rounds. Connecticut. Seems like for the most part, some do background checks on private sales of guns. Others just don't. Other states just don't give a damn. Connecticut, permit required? Yes and yes. Policy is shall issue due to court rulings. Purchase permit required? Yes and yes. There is a 14-day waiting period to purchase long guns. Good job, Connecticut. Registration of firearms? Yes and yes. Sales and serial numbers are recorded. Does not apply to out-of-state sales. Open carry allowed? Yes. And partial on long guns. Required permit for handguns. There is no law requiring regarding long guns and open carry. Background checks on private gun sales required. Yes and yes. Sale must be through licensed dealer. Magazine size restriction. Magazine limited to 10 rounds. Okay? So for the most part, you can see who cares about cares about who puts a gun in the right hand and and who, what state is going to make it difficult for people to have access to guns like that. Delaware, permit required. Yes for handguns, no for long guns. Purchase permit required. No and no. Registration of firearms. No and no. Open carry allowed. Yes and yes. No permit required. Background checks on private gun sales required. Yes and yes. Sale must be through licensed dealer. Magazine size restriction. No and no. Oh, well, District of Columbia. Hopefully, District of Columbia. But I mean, they only have a 2-star rating for their laws. A permit required. Yes for handguns. NA for long guns. So I'm pretty sure that just means no, you cannot. Purchase permit required. Yes and yes. Registration of firearms. Yes and yes. Of course, this is Washington, D.C. Must be registered with Metropolitan Police. Open carry allowed. No and no. Background checks on private gun sales. Required. Yes and yes. Sale must be through licensed dealer. Magazine size restriction. Yes and yes. Magazine limited to 10 rounds. I already know what's going to go down here. This is Florida. I already know what's going to go down here. Permit required. Yes for handguns. No for long guns. Policy is shall issue. Purchase permit required. No and no. Registration of firearms. Of course not. It's Florida and it's the South. Florida law bans any registration of firearms. Wow. Okay. Open carry allowed. No and no. I'm shocked. That's actually shocking to me. Okay, there are some exceptions, such as when hunting or fishing. Background checks on private gun sales required. No and no. Magazine size restriction. No and no. I'm kind of shocked that they don't have open carry in Florida. Georgia, permit required for handguns. Yes. Long guns, no. Purchase permit required for handguns, no. Long guns, no. Registration of firearms, no and no. Open carry allowed, yes and yes. License required. Background checks on private gun sales required, no and no. Magazine restriction, no and no. Okay, and they actually have wow, 5 stars, 4-star rating for their laws. Hawaii, permit required. Yes for handguns. No. Purchase permit required. Yes and yes and yes. Registration of firearms. Yes and yes. Open carry allowed. Yes and yes. Open carry of long guns allowed, and no law against handguns, but permits are never issued for handguns. Background checks on private gun sales required. Yes and yes. Permit required to purchase handguns will require background checks to obtain permit. Wow. Hawaii is not playing. Permit required to purchase handgun will require background check to obtain permit. Jesus. Magazine restriction. Yes and no. Cannot hold more than 10 rounds in handgun. Idaho. Permit required. No and no. No permit is required. Purchase permit required. No and no. Registration of firearms. No and no. Open carry allowed. Yes and yes. Background check on private gun sales required. No and no. Magazine restriction. No and no. And Idaho has a 5-star rating on their gun laws. Okay. Illinois, carry permit required. Yes for handguns, no for long guns. Purchase permit required. Yes and yes. Purchase need a FOID card. Registration of firearm, no and no. Open carry allowed, no and no. Background checks on private gun sales required, yes and yes. Seller is required to verify purchaser's FOID card. Excuse me. Magazine size restriction, no and no. They have a 2-star rating. Indiana, carry permit required, yes and no. Policy is shall issue. Excuse me. Registration of firearms, no and no. Open carry allowed, yes and yes. Background checks on private gun sales required, no and no. Magazine size restriction, no and no. Carry permit required, no and no. For Idaho, purchase permit required, no and no. Registration of firearms, no and no. Open carry allowed, yes and yes. Background check on private gun sales, yes and no. Magazine size restriction, no and no. And they have a 5-star rating. For Iowa. Kansas, carry permit required, no and no. Purchase permit required, no and no. Registration of firearm, no and no. Open carry allowed, yes and yes. Background checks on private gun sales required, no and no. Magazine size restriction, no and no. And they have a 5-star rating as well for Kansas. Kentucky, carry permit required, no and no. Purchase permit required, no and no. Registration of firearms, no and no. Open carry, yes and yes. Background checks, no and no. Magazine size, no and no. And they also have a 5-star rating in Kentucky. Louisiana, I already know because this is the South. Carry permit required, yes and no. Permit Purchase permit required, no and no. Registration of firearm, no and no. Open carry, yes and yes. No permit required, but can be restricted by some local authorities. Background checks on private gun sales required. Magazine size restriction, no and no. Magazine size, yeah. And they have a 3-star rating for Louisiana. Maine, carry permit required, no and no. No permit required. Purchase permit required. Registration of firearm, no and no. Open carry allowed, yes and yes. Background checks on private gun sales required, no and no. Magazine size restriction, no and no. Now I'm wondering, are these like limits? Are these restrictions like based on? Are these restrictions based on like the amount of uh, homicides that have happened, or things that had to do with uh, things that had to do with things that had to do with like different homicides that happened in these states. I wonder if that's what gives it like gives them these makes them vote on these in the way they vote on these. Maryland, wow, Maryland has a lot here. Okay, concealed carry permit required. Yes, long guns NA policy is may issue. Permits are difficult to obtain. Purchase permit required, yes and no. Requires a handgun qualification license. Registration of firearm, yes and no. Handguns and automatic weapons require registration with the police. Permit needed for open carry, yes and no. Requires carry permit for handgun, but usually only police or security guards open carry. Background checks on private gun sales required, yes and partial. Sales must go through a licensed dealer or police. Magazine size restriction, yes and yes. Limited to 10 rounds. Possession of higher capacity magazine is legal if purchased out of state. State preemption, yes and yes. Most local laws are preempted by state laws, but there are a few laws that are not. Assault weapons banned, yes and yes. There is a ban on certain models of firearms. And they have a 1-star law rating. I don't know if I'm gonna get through each and every one of these, but let me get to the other side of this, if I could, just for a moment. Get to the other side of this. And the question I would say is, the question I would pose is what if they what if the US decides to change their gun laws to the similarity of a UK structure or a Australia structure? And just gonna look at that. I think I heard somebody say something along the lines of something along the lines of it doesn't matter if they make stricter gun laws. Uh, People who like commit crimes will just find another way to do something, find another way to commit a tragedy or do something heinous. You know, I maybe it has nothing to do. Maybe it has nothing to do with the actual gun and more to do with the psychological, I guess, the psychological part of it all, if that makes any type of sense, the mental aspect of it all. I think it has everything, for me, myself, I think it has everything to do with the mentality factor. But it's so like used as a crutch that I don't think any one media party of people can take it make Americans take it serious enough to where we can actually put in place something that would make it to where, like, if you're not mentally stable and you're mentally broken, you're not supposed to have a gun. I think that, in my own opinion, I think that's something that needs to be looked at a little bit more. I think it's not about whether you can purchase a gun or not. It's about whether you're mentally stable enough. Like just like I said, like, it doesn't matter about the gun laws because somebody can go get a knife or use a car or go to a hardware store and get something from a hardware store. All those things in the hardware store are legal to purchase, right? You can use any one of those things to commit some type of heinous act on innocent people, you know? So it's like it's more about the mental aspect of things. It's more about the state of psychology. I think more than oh, are are they gonna take our guns away? No, nobody's gonna take your guns away. It's just something has to be done about all of these heinous acts that are continuing to happen and are continuing to take the lives of innocent people. Bro, I'm gonna be honest and say America is so ghetto. America is so ghetto. I'm not saying that things aren't happening in other countries. Like, I just seen something where somebody just people, ran over a bunch of people in over there in Europe. Somebody, a person literally just ran over a bunch of people in Europe. It's just like that thing that happened where it was over Christmas or something like that. And there was another thing that happened overseas where a person just took a truck and just ran over a bunch of random people. And he didn't even have to use a gun. Do you get what I mean there? It's all about the mental stability thing, bro. The psychology of it all, bro. Like, but it's a little bit it's I guess in my own instance, I would say it's more of a softer blow. Even though you know innocent lives are still taken, it's not it's not through like it's not through like a gun, honestly. But still, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right at all that things are still happening without a gun. Human sacrifice is the biggest black eye of Earth. Honestly, at the end of the day, um, it's terrible to know that you don't know what the next amount of time is, or you know what's gonna happen when you walk out of your door. It's that type of thing, and unfortunately, people have to lose loved ones over idiots who are just mentally broken walking in this world, unfortunately. And I'm prayers to everybody who has lost somebody to a tragedy, and you know hopefully something can be done, to soften the black eye that is on America right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we are once again. And usually I don't really even talk about like relationship stuff like this, but I thought, hey, this might be a good time to just get on this and see if I can't bring some type of commentary to it. First and foremost, Steve Harvey is a comedian. Um, Also, he is just all around media personality who is all over the television screen, all over the internet. And one thing I can say that I really take into effect is his motivational speakings that he does. Right, he's done speakings on gaining income, relationships, never, going in and setting goals and things of that nature. He's even written a book, which, of course, act like a lady, think like a man. All of that is nice, and all of that is well, and if there's anything I really pay attention to, it's that from him. All of that is nice and well. The whole situation of his daughter, and in this moment in time, I will not be like, this has nothing. I'm not slandering or anything like that. This is, in fact, me uh just examining this whole entire thing. Laura Harvey was in a relationship with Michael B. Jordan. And Laura Harvey has been with a few different people who were very well publicized figures in the entertainment industry. Whether it be Future, whether it be, I think at some point, wasn't she dating Diddy? Wasn't she dating Diddy at some point? She was dating Diddy. She was dating Future, Diddy. She was dating his son, I believe, from what I'm to understand. We go from that to Akon's brother. Okay, that's interesting. And then of course Trey Songz. She was with Trey Songz, right? And then Lewis Hamilton, the F1 race car driver. Memphis DJ or Depe, excuse me, a soccer player. She was dating him. So all these relationships that she's had, I don't know if y'all see the pattern here, but it's a pattern that is familiar in the sense of, and like I said, I'm not here to slander. I'm just here to examine, examine it the way I see it from the outside, looking in. And this whole pattern of dating that she has been through up until now, with recently being with Michael B. Jordan, which they have now ended the situation ship, if you will. All of this is in the pattern of how Kim Kardashian came up. Look at all of the men she dated. All high profile entertainers. High profile entertainers. I don't think she did the one. I think the only difference between Kim Kardashian and Lori Harvey is that Kim Kardashian didn't get with somebody's dad and then didn't get with somebody's son and then go to her dad. Go to like the son's dad. Like I think that's the only thing that's the difference. And you can only now try to and you the funny part about all of this and what makes all of this weird is that you remember how I was just talking about Steve Harvey. He's amazing with he's great with relationship advice and everything like that. It really makes this look hypocritical. It makes him giving relationship advice very hypocritical because your daughter is doing the opposite of what you are preaching to the congregation. How is it that a man does everything a woman wants him to do? Makes her feel special, goes out of his way, damn near breaks his back to give the woman the experience and the love that she really wants, or he gave, or in my opinion, I feel like he gave the wrong love to a woman, who doesn't really know about that as of yet. How's it a wholesome guy giving wholesome wholesome values and the values that he was raised with to a woman like this to feel played, to be played. Excuse me. It's crazy. This is crazy. And you can and you honestly would not, and you wouldn't believe that people are actually celebrating their on both sides, celebrating this woman doing this to this man. It's crazy, bro. It's utterly disgusting in my own opinion. Like, wholesome love is dead. You may as well not advertise that you want a real relationship. Honestly, in my opinion, you may as well just settle for situationships, man. You looking for a real relationship? You might as well just shut your mouth, glue your mouth shut, and stop talking because that ain't it, and it don't exist. It's just the truth, and this is just more in turn proof of that. It's proof of that. I know one thing though. Michael B. Jordan is about to go on a world tour. Man, about to go on a world tour, man. Keep your head up, King. You ain't gonna be down for long, bro. And that is all I have to say about that. I ain't gonna spend too much time on it. Yeah. Okay, so Lil Nas X is in the news again for basically being at odds with BET because he was not nominated in any category at the BET Awards for his last effort from, I believe it was 2021 with Montero, which is weird because uh, didn't BET have him on their award show last year performing "Call Me by Your Name" and he was kissing a dude at the he was kissing a guy at the end of his performance or whatever. So it's kind of that's kind of weird. But on another hand, and I don't, I'm trying to do this in the, you know, this is just me, um, and I'm just gonna break it down like this and say that when Lil Nas X first came out, I was actually rocking with his music. I liked that first effort that he had put out, the Seven EP. I thought it was dope. Um, on one of the songs, he announced that he was gay. Okay, cool. Don't care that you're gay as long as the art form that you have, it doesn't diminish because you announce that you're gay. I don't care that you're gay as long as the art does isn't diminished. Frank Ocean announced he was gay when I was like in high school when I started listening to his music. Has that has him has did him announcing that he was gay change my mind about his music? No, it did not. Tyler the Creator announced that he was gay. Bro, do you think I'm about to stop listening to the incredible art of Tyler the Creator just because he's gay? I don't care what you do in your bedroom. That's none of my business. As long as it does not diminish the art that you have or water it down just because you said that, oh, hey, I'm gay. It shouldn't matter. My problem with Lil Nas X is that he's the latter. He announced that he was gay, and all of a sudden now everything, like ever since he announced that he was gay, like however long ago he announced that he was gay, it diminished the art. It diminished his artistry. Like to me, maybe whoever listens to Lil Nas X might not think like that, but I think so. He been trolling all this time and doing all this and doing all that, and it's like the music is paying the ultimate price for you trolling about you being gay. Like, bro, we not supposed to care that you gay, bro. Like, you supposed to like wow us with your music. Elton John is one of the greatest musicians, not because he's gay, but because his artistry, his performances, his sound, his sound sonically, and what he can do with music is incredible. Not because he's gay, it's because he's an incredible artist. What's dude's name from what is that guy's name from Queen? What is his name? The lead singer or whatever. His name escapes me right at this very moment. He was gay. Does it matter that he's gay? No. His artistry never diminished because he was gay. He never made it all about him being gay. He did it. He did what he did as an artist, and forever will be held at a hierarchy because of how incredible of an artist he is. He never trolled that he was, oh yeah, I'm gay, blah 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 blah. Like, no, okay, cool, you're gay, bro. Like, push it to the side. I don't care about that. What about your artistry? That's what I care about. And Lil Nas X has let his trolling get in the way, so much so that after not being nominated in any category, he decided to go make a song with NBA YoungBoy and basically say FBT. Basically said FBT, um, and called them out for from what it says up here. It says after not being nominated for a BET award, and calling out the black community for homophobia. This is a double edged sword because while he's right, there's also people in the black community who are gay as well. People got people have family members who are gay. So I mean, on one hand, I get you, but on the other hand, bro, you reach it. Like, it's not the black community. It's the hip hop community that doesn't care for gay gay anything. Can you, like, if we can go back and look at all the lyrics from the 90s and early 2000s, they was all anti homophobia. It was all anti homophobia. So I get you, but on the other hand, reaching a little bit there. Um, yeah, just in my humble opinion, Lil Nas X has lost his way as an artist. He has made it so much about he has made it less about the product that he puts out and more about what type of memes can I put together for this song. Which, no slight to him, that's what got him to the big dance. But now that you're in the driver's seat, we get all of this over here. We already know about you, this, that, and the third. What else is there? It reminds me of Empire and what the downfall of Empire was. You remember how that show was interesting at first? Yes, it was a musical family, about the lions, and it was a musical family with the father being an executive. His son, one of his sons has anger management issues. The other one is is stubborn, and he has a gay son. They took they took Jamal Lyon, right, and made him the whole antithesis of the show just because he was gay, and not making it about his artistry and less about him being gay. Not only did they make it about him being gay, but they centered the whole entire show around him. They didn't equally give everybody a chance to expand their character, the characters, the fictionalization of their characters. They made it so much about Jamal Lyon being gay. It's like, bro, okay, we get it. He's gay. What else is there? And that's the same problem I have with this guy. It's the same problem I have. Okay, we get it. You're gay. What else is there? Where does your artistry start and the trolling stop? That's basically what I'm trying to say here. Where does it start with the artistry and end with the trolling? That's it. That's all. Now, obviously, Deshaun Watson has been in the news for quite a while over all of these allegations of I guess sexual misconduct, right? Um, Up until this point, I didn't, as messed up as this is gonna sound, it's like innocent. It's really just innocent until proven guilty because the only people that know what actually happened is himself and these people who are like really actually accusing him. Whether it happened for real, only time will tell. But it's kind of up until this moment in time with this. I believe this is about to be like a deposition I play right here. It was like I was on the brink of like basically saying like, okay, uh, since Deshaun Watson wanted out of Houston, out of his Houston contract, or even the Texans football team, this was like a way of trying to get him for like wanting to leave the Houston Texans. That's what I believed at some point, because it just wasn't working out here for him. Um, Up until I saw this video, this deposition, or whatever this may be, him being questioned by I believe what I believe is a lawyer or somebody in the room, and basically asking him questions. I'm just gonna play the video, and then I'm gonna go into basically what has gone on so far during like with this whole entire case.
Remember her telling you that she wasn't going to go to a hotel room with you?
I don't remember that.
The Fox 8 team giving you the first look at Deshaun Watson answering questions in lawsuits filed by 22 women.
Women accusing him of sexual misconduct, strangers he met through social media for massages.
That's why I saw it on Instagram.
So you think you saw a story that involved her?
Definitely possible.
Definitely possible. Did you find her attractive?
That wasn't my intention, sir.
I didn't ask you what your intentions were.
I can't answer that. I have a girlfriend, so that wasn't my intention, sir.
Okay, so you can't answer that because you have a girlfriend.
Because that's not what I was looking for.
What did you want from her?
Just a massage.
Was she a massage therapist?
Yes, sir.
Licensed?
I'm not sure, sir.
Trained?
I'm not sure, sir.
Schooled?
I'm not sure, sir.
Did you tell the Texans you were doing that?
No, sir.
Did you tell your trainer you were doing that?
No, sir.
Pretty risky to go to some place you've never been before, to have somebody you didn't really know, you didn't know anything about their skill level, to give you a massage. So what I'm trying to figure out, Mr. Watson, is why you would post something on Instagram suggesting that you were in New York City when you were instead in Houston getting a massage.
On the advice of my lawyer, I assert my rights under the...
Okay, so it's a little bit, from what I can like gather, it just feels like a little bit of manipulation, just a little bit, and a little bit of him trying to tread lightly because they trying to get. It just feels like they trying to get him. To be fair, it feels like they trying to get him on something, on anything if they could get him. It feels like each question that they're asking him, they just waiting on him to like stumble enough to where they could like get him to say something that is not true, you know. But yeah, it's a it is a he is facing 24 civil suits booked with 66 massage therapists in 17 month period. And man, let me tell you something. It don't look like they not gonna let this go. And he's not even he don't even play for the Texans anymore. He played for Cleveland now. So um despite publicly saying he worked with 40 massage therapists, booked massage appointments with 66 women from 2019 through 2021, according to a report from the New York Times. The report contains accounts from some of those therapists that suggest the quarterback, who's currently facing 24 active lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault and sexual misconduct, engaging in questionable behavior when seeking massages. The 24 plaintiffs, attorney Tony Busby. Well, there's your red flag right there. First of all, Tony Busby. Tony Busby is basically the Donald Trump of Houston, bro. Like, he was running for mayor, bro. Like, there's your red flag right there. That's the red flag right there. Anyway, in a statement released Wednesday that the Houston Texans were being added to the suit, based on what we have learned from the Houston Police Department, we will soon be joining the Houston Texans organization and others as defendants in the ongoing lawsuits against Deshaun Watson. The statement reads, according to the New York Times, Watson asked several of the therapists to sign an NDA he received from a Houston Texans staff member, and in his deposition, he said the team arranged for some of the massages to happen at a place at the Houstonian. Per the Times, he used the fitness club, dined there, and also set up massages in hotel rooms. Busby cited those details and said the team facilitated Deshaun Watson's conduct. In many cases, the Texans provided an opportunity for this conduct to occur. The statement reads, we believe the Texans organization was well aware of Watson's issues but failed to act. They knew or certainly should have known. The Texans told the New York Times via a statement that they first learned of the allegations against Watson in March 2021, have cooperated with investigators and will continue to do so. Tuesday's report also contained the account of one woman who said Watson purchased 30 bottles of her $40 skinny cleanser and had a few appointments with the quarterback during the summer of 2020. She told the Times that when Watson booked an appointment, she told him she was licensed, only to give him a back facial. Okay. However, during the session, Watson got fully undressed and directed her towards his groin. She told the Times there was no sexual contact, but she believed that he was seeking more than a professional massage. Okay, so see, that's another red flag right there. How would he? It's like it doesn't make sense somehow right here. Why would somebody get fully undressed? Then she says there was no sexual contact, but she believed he was seeking more than a massage. So does that just mean that you had okay, so this doesn't make any sense. That right there is a red flag. That doesn't make any sense. How is a person getting fully undressed? They're getting fully undressed, right? And then you say they're not seeking sexual favor, but you in your mind think that they are. That doesn't even make any sense. That sounds like that's almost kind of like when Chris Brown was being sued for a woman saying that he had sexually assaulted her in his he had sexually assaulted her in her sexually assaulted a woman in her dreams. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That sounds just like that. That sounds just like that. Okay? That really doesn't make any sense. But all right, that's a red flag. Watson, who sat out last season while on the Texans roster, has denied any wrongdoing and said any sexual encounters with the women suing him were consensual. Okay. All right. There's another red flag right there. So now this leads me to believe that some of this did happen. You mix this, what I'm reading right now, with this video, so now it starts to seem like, yeah, something happened. Something happened. Something definitely happened. Something definitely happened and it was either on his side or on their side where they was like, yeah, we gonna get him. Something definitely happened then. Yep. After hearing at the video plus this, yeah, tells me that something happened. Something definitely happened allegedly. Something allegedly definitely happened. Because like he says, any sexual encounter that with the woman, any sexual encounters with the woman suing him were consensual. That means something happened. That definitely means something happened. Hmm. Only time will tell, man. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. And it's crazy that the Texans, I guess, didn't do enough to defend him because they knew he was leaving. It's crazy, but we'll see. We'll see what becomes of this because it's like the worst thing Deshaun Watson could have did was sign with the Houston Texans, and it just feels like he's not going to be playing any football for. It just seems like he's not going to be. The issue is not going to be on his football career after this is all said and done with. Honestly. Yes. 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 Here we go again. I thought you learned your lesson in the first place when we called you out for the ice cream. I thought these corporations learned their lesson when we called them out for the ice cream and it coming from Walmart and Great Value. I thought they learned their lesson, but no, 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 no. You have come again with something else for us to throw Franks at. What do the females say? Boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Why? 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 Just why? Just why? Just why? I might as well go ahead and read it. Indianapolis has apologized for selling Juneteenth watermelon salad. Juneteenth watermelon salad. An Indiana museum is under fire for selling watermelon salad in honor of Juneteenth. It's the ultimate disrespect, bro. Like they don't care at this point. They're on cruise control. They're on autopilot. Whatever. Like they don't care. They don't care. They want to be in on the fad. They think this holiday, as I stated in the last segment that had to do with this, that this is a day that black people have been celebrating before it was officiated as a day. They just want in, man. They want to make some capital. They want to make capital by any means necessary, even if that means making watermelon salad. I don't think I need to go down the timeline of of watermelon and how it is stereotyped to black people. I don't think I need to go down that road. Sure, everybody knows already. Um, what food will they think of next to put and try to sell to black people is a question. Let's see. They've done red velvet. What is that? Red velvet ice cream, Now it's watermelon. I mean, chicken has to be next, right? Chicken has got to be next. Chicken has got to be next on the list. I mean, it's black people's favorite food, right? Just knock it off. Quit already. Like, just quit. Quit. You gonna give us fried? You gonna be selling Juneteenth fried chicken only for a limited time with a side of grape soda? Like, bro, it's funny, but at the same time, there's there's a little bit of hurt there. They're not sensitive to the emotions of black people, and ultimately, they want to run them pockets and get that green. That's the only color they care about. Somebody should just start tallying how many times corporations have to apologize for a special Juneteenth thing that they put on the market or whatever. It should like start to just tally up how many times corporations slip up and do something that is stupid and insensitive. That's all I got to say about it. I'm not gonna spend too much time. You heard me. Hey man. Listen, that's the end of the podcast, and I should be back with more next week. Probably more content in the next couple of days, maybe, depending on how much motivation I got. Y'all take it easy. I'm out.